welcome to the Racing Lanes podcast. I'm not even going to go through the whole general spiel of saying welcoming my co-host. I just went ahead and have them sitting here waiting right here with us as we go live. Tonight we were supposed to have a guest with us tonight, Miss Lindsey Trent from Next Gen Trucking, but I'm not sure if previous engagement may have came up or may not, and she may actually even join us a little bit later. But for now, we didn't want to keep you guys, ladies and gentlemen, waiting. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the industry, and we figured if worse comes to worse, we can just sit on here and kind of chew on the fat for a few minutes at least, and talk about some of the things that have been coming down the pike in trucking. Um, and so, with that being said, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. I don't want to lose my whole mojo. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to the video. That helps us get into a broader algorithm for YouTube. So please make sure you do that. Tell a friend to tell a friend about the show so we can try to get more information exposed out there as we possibly can. And I guess with that being said, good evening, Chuck. How are you?
Rico, I'm doing great. Lindsey will be joining us any moment. I just big shout out tonight to all of those truckers that are out there working instead of heading back to home terminal to be with their families. They're sacrificing their Thanksgiving to deliver goods somewhere on this great continent of ours. And we want a big shout out to them. And we know how big a holiday Thanksgiving is for families. And it certainly takes a toll on a family by not having that person there. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for doing what you do.
Absolutely. It's definitely this time of year is when we kind of really find out who the real heroes are in our industry. Everybody wants to be with loved ones and everything else during this time of year, and the American truck driver. I can only speak for America, but good a good fellow. I forget his name, but he was always on the Nastic CDs, and we actually even had him on the show once.
Baker.
Baker.
Yes.
He says he picks America up and brings her back to herself every day, and that's definitely the truth. America definitely picks America up and bring everything that she needs to her on a regular basis. And so, hats off, salute to all the drivers out there doing this season right here. Definitely want you guys to make sure that you're staying safe. And actually, we looks like our guest just popped in.
Well, that's great. You're on.
And I don't want to keep her waiting. Miss Lindsey Trent from Next Gen Trucking. Good evening, Lindsey. How are you?
Hey, good evening. I'm doing great. How are you all?
We're great. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
I'm glad to be here.
We love the stuff you are doing. You're just we're you know what, we've known you now for over a year, and you just keep winning. It's great to see you've started something really from the ground up, and to watch how you have in no time at all. And I'm sure there was hours and hours and hours of sacrifice behind the scenes to build this incredible association you have built. And thank you for doing it from an old guy that's been in the industry for a long time. You're what we needed. Thank you.
Well, it's been really fun, and what we created for the industry. So, we saw that the industry has an industry-wide problem, right? What we talk about every day.
Yep.
We talk about the driver shortage. We talk about the aging workforce, that we have all these amazing people that are driving and they're professionals, but we don't have anybody to fill their place. And you talk to so many trucking companies, they're like, I could hire 10 drivers. I could hire 30 drivers. I could hire 100. And so we created Next Gen Trucking to fill these workforce shortages. But what we quickly found out is that young people need guidance. They need a good career path.
Yes.
And we really think that we can provide a great career path, a great life with trucking. And
Yeah.
so if we're able to help these young people get a skill and help them on the right track, instead of going down the wrong path, what about going down the right path? A path maybe unexpected, but the path that they find success in. They're like, oh, wow, I'm good at this. I can find success in this. I can make a career of this. I can support a family. I can make good money. And
Yeah.
so what we're seeing is lives changed. And it's really awesome. Every single day, we're seeing lives change because of trucking.
Yeah. It's, you know what? And I know right now, as we speak, there's a little bit of a change in the industry. Rico and I were just talking about it in the green room before the show. Um, there's a lot of we have excess capacity of trucks temporarily. Okay, and this is very temporarily.
It is.
It's a very temporary thing, and this isn't long term. And what the industry really does need, it needs people that are going to be in it for the long term, not in it. Took a truck driving course because fishing was bad this year, or the wood business is bad, or construction's gone slow, so I'm going to learn to drive a truck, or I did learn to drive a truck 10 years ago. I'll go for a refresher course. Talking to a friend of mine who's been on the show several times, Ray Wieneman, who sells trucks. He's a VP of used trucks for Rush up in Canada. He said, we're talking last week. He said, a lot of my customers are telling me they're having no problem finding drivers. And I just looked at him and I said, good drivers? And he goes, no, you're right. Because good drivers aren't looking for work. They don't have to look for work. They have great jobs. They make great money. It's the not so good drivers. And a lot of them don't take it seriously. They haven't had good training. And I think with what you are doing at Next Gen, you are providing ways of these young people getting good training. It's not just as truck drivers, it's other things as well.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna jump in for a second there, because I think the last time that we had Lindsey on, it was great to hear that you guys not just talking about finding the next generation of truckers, but you guys are diversified and helping all aspects of the transportation industry, where it comes from logistics managers, so on and so forth, helping people find career paths in that side of the industry as well.
Yeah. So the three verticals that we really are focusing on is professional driving, diesel technology, so diesel mechanics,
Right.
and supply chain and logistics professionals. So just last week, I was meeting with a high school. So it's a technical high school in Georgia that has a supply chain and logistics program, and they are training young people while they're in high school to be brokers, to work in the supply chain, to support logistics. And there's not a whole lot of these programs around the country. We're trying to connect with more, and we're helping schools create more. And so it's really exciting because all of these schools want to start programs that are beneficial to their students and beneficial to the employers in their community, and they need guidance on what they should create. Should they create construction programs? Should they create culinary, hospitality programs, cosmetology, or should they create supply chain and logistics programs or trucking? We want to steer them towards our industry, and there's a lot of federal funding that goes towards those programs. So if we steer them towards our industry, we're going to get federal funding on the education side.
Oh, that would be fantastic. I got to tell you, when you're talking about bringing, supply chain into the high schools, that just makes my heart just swell. I got to tell you, because it's so badly needed. And some of the crap, pardon my language, ladies and gentlemen, that they teach kids in school, here you are teaching somebody such a wonderful skill set that can open so many doors all over the place. That opportunity that I had personally to spend a weekend down in Georgia at a teachers conference, and the booth that you had set up we were like the rock stars of the show. It was so nice to be at a trade show exhibiting and being a rock star. It's a great feeling. And we had, the amount of teachers that came by, and they did not come by. Of course, they took swag, but they weren't there like at Matt's working the booth for my former company at Travis, where people are just coming for swag mostly. These were actually people that were, they saw the value. And, some of these teachers were actually thinking about a career in trucking and logistics for themselves, not necessarily students.
We do get that.
Yeah. So you're definitely onto something.
Yeah, it's really fun to interact with students, and for teachers even, and counselors. And a lot of times they'll come up and they'll say, I have several students that this will be great for, and how can we get them connected to this career? And so it is really exciting what we're doing. And interestingly, COVID helped bring up the fact, like, supply chain became a mainstream word.
Yes.
Because everybody went to the store, the shelves were empty, and they were like, wait, why are our shelves empty? Because they're normally full. Well, hello, truck drivers are essential workers, and they bring the supplies in. The supply chain is the backbone of our country. And so now they know the supply chain. And one thing that Gen Z wants is they want a career that's fulfilling and that has purpose.
Yes.
And we have to sell the fact that the supply chain is a very purposeful career when you're doing something that's supporting the supply chain, because you're keeping America, you're keeping Canada, you're keeping our country full of all the things that they need to survive.
Yes. I couldn't agree more. You see how valuable it is to have a proper supply chain. We need it. It was pretty scary going into a grocery store and seeing empty shelves. I'm a lot older than you guys, and I had never seen that in my life. And that was something that I heard about from people that had gone to places like Russia, in the in the 70s and into the 80s before they changed their policies. We had never seen that in North America. So it did work out. I think the supply chain in general got the recognition. I agree that it so rightfully deserves.
And before I'm sorry, I need to maybe do a little bit of housekeeping before we go a little bit further. But I just want to let our listeners know that if you want to be involved, you can join us in the chat. Type your questions into the chat. We have one question that had a question about the school. What's the name of the school there in Georgia?
So the name of the school in Georgia, it's affiliated with the LaGrange School District in Georgia. So that is northwest corner. And we met with the West Georgia Technical College and the Career Tech Center, which is what's it called? Like, I can't remember the exact name. I can find it. And we met, with the superintendent of the school system, the community college, the tech school principal, the supply chain and logistics program teacher, and we're hoping to start a trucking program at that high school. So these students can also go and get their CDL, learn about being a professional driver while they're
For me with LaGrange, they have a Walmart distribution.
Yes, that's exactly. Yes. So they have one of the biggest Walmart distributions, I think, in the country. And they have a lot, like each end of the county has a huge Love's truck stop. I mean, it is a very distribution, supply chain focused community.
Well, look where it's located. It's a perfect location for distribution.
Yep.
Yeah, it's right there on the Georgia, Alabama, kind of like right there in that little nestled off in that little corner right there. So yeah.
Right. That's the fun thing about talking to truck drivers is because they know the country, right? You're like, oh yeah, I know exactly that side of the, everything.
Geography, we're kind of familiar with geography, and the other thing is, you got and there's huge the Kia plant is not far from there either.
That's right. Yep. Yep. So they have a lot of opportunities where we want to build out more programs with them. What we want to do is make trucking, make the supply chain a first career choice, right? A lot of people, what you were saying, Chuck, they just kind of fall into it because something happened. What if we made trucking a first career choice? So we give these students, these bright young minds, an opportunity to become trained while they're in high school. It's a free education, but they're learning about the supply chain. They're getting their certified technician um, certificates. They're getting a CDL. Those are the things that we are looking to do and to help support schools to create these programs.
And another thing too is that that's a huge thing. A lot of people may not necessarily be cut out to go the 4-year career path, or 4-year student, or even if you're talking about going after a master's or even higher education. A lot of people doesn't necessarily fit into that box, and so I think that trucking and transportation is definitely a viable career path for someone that may be willing to put in a little bit of extra training and schoolwork, but not necessarily having a full commitment of a 4-year degree. Because I think most trucking programs, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but to get and a lot of these trucking is maybe more of a 2-year type program or something along those lines, or is it a little bit more intensive than that?
So the trucking program that we have created is based off of Patterson High School, which is a high school in California. And this is their 7th year that
Wow.
they've had a trucking program. And so last year we won a grant. We've been writing this curriculum all year. We won a $150,000 grant to work with a professional curriculum writing company to create this curriculum guide for high schools to be able to easily start a truck driver training program. So it has every single week, it's got the PowerPoint, the handouts, videos. It is a well-rounded program. It's 210 hours, 30 hours of those are lab hours. And this is classroom instruction. So when they graduate, then they go on to a private driving school or to the local community college to get their behind the wheel training. And so right now, this program is 1 year for high school seniors. We are looking to create a 2-year pathway. So it's just going to be even more in depth, but it is professional driving. It's those soft skills you need as a professional driver. It's how do you read a map? I mean, as a professional driver, there's so many things that you do that people don't even understand. And we are trying to create the next generation to come in with the skills that they need to succeed and be retained in our industry.
Yeah, like I say, the diesel tech and the other career path options that you guys offer, I think that's a really great thing, because like our one of our listeners said here, college isn't for everybody,
Mhm.
and so you have a lot of people, and this is a kind of a twofold thing, in my opinion. You got a lot of people. There's a lot of things going on right now, especially here in America. People talking about, well, student loans being repaid. You got a lot of people that go out to school, accumulate a bunch of student debt, and I think that this is one way to be able to get into a really viable career path where you may be able to get into it where the initial cost, if you get student loans for this, it won't run you into $60,000, $70,000 plus interest by the time you are said and done and graduate, and more than likely you can come out starting a career in a very viable industry where like we said earlier, you can be able to provide for yourself, your family. You may not be eating steak every night, but I mean, but you definitely won't be eating beans and rice every night either. So
That's right.
Unless it's by choice.
Right. That's right. Well, so I sit on the local advisory board.
no offense to the vegans out there.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So I'm on the local advisory board to the high school, my local high school. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, and it's Fairdale High School. Our teacher there, he teaches the diesel tech program. He's an amazing teacher. His students are super connected to him. And we were meeting one day and he was talking about his students, and he tells his students that within a few years, if you're not making $60,000 as a diesel technician, then you're not doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And within the same breath, he said, most of these students, their parents combined don't make $60,000. So the elevation of what we're helping these students obtain, the certification, these skills, by introducing them to being a diesel technician, by being in careers that support the supply chain, are just incredible. I mean, this is helping somebody get on a whole new career path that is changing their family tree.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that's why, you look at young people that come out of university with a undergraduate degree, a Bachelor of Science, and what sort of work are they going to do? They may get lucky and get hired by a large company, but they've got that student debt for those 3-4 years that they're carrying, and they've got to pay that off. And
Not to mention that a lot of people don't even finish college that start it, but they still have student loan debt with no degree.
Absolutely.
I have relatives that have switched courses 3 times at 24 years old.
Yeah.
They still don't. And you know what? The problem is they didn't. It's like going on a road trip and you leave the house and you go, oh, am I going to go east or west? And, well, I'll go east. And you start driving east and go, well, am I going to go north or south? Well, I don't like going that way because the sun's in my eyes. I'm going this way. And, and they go in circles. And that's what happens a lot of times. They don't have a clear career path, or somebody tells them to, it'd be good if you could be a lawyer. And the guys or girls not really interested in law, but they spend a few years in university, they get their undergraduate, and then it's time to go to law school. And they go, you know what? I never really wanted to be a lawyer. Yeah. I think I'm going to be a diesel technician. Well, you should have done that.
So true.
Yeah, it's really. So I've got to ask you, you have somehow hooked up with a farm group, I understand.
So we were a few weeks ago, the beginning of November, we were exhibiting at the Future Farmers of America.
Okay.
And so it is the largest student organization in the United States. And it's students from all over the country that are a part of these chapters that focus on agricultural training, leadership skills. They do all kinds of things, and it's amazing. And so once a year, they have a national convention, and it's really big. And this is our second year. This is our second year as an association officially. This is our second year as exhibitors doing career branding for trucking. We had a driver simulator there. We had VR headsets where you can change the oil in a truck. You can change the tire in a truck. So we're just talking to students about careers in trucking. We had 3 professional drivers that are national tank truck carrier driver champions. So we had the grand champion, and we had 2 of the finalists there talking to students. It's incredible. Guess how many students and parents and advisors were there? Mostly students, but
no idea. How
72,000.
Holy!
Yeah, it's wild.
Tell me something. Is this like the 4-H club on steroids?
Yeah, it sure is. Yes, it sure is. And a lot of these, they're 15, they're 16. They're like, oh, I drive on the farm. Like they drive trucks on the farm already. They know it. And it's an amazing group of students that are excited about their future. They're just great kids. And everybody that comes and works our booth with us just loves every moment of it, because they're like, wait, there is hope for our future when they talk to these kids.
Yeah. It's great that you're, especially with farm kids, because I have to tell you, in all my years of running a fleet, by far the best drivers and owner operators we ever had were farm boys and girls, because they knew how to do stuff. They didn't hurry. Okay. They didn't rush, but they got the job done just the same and they would call you in the morning and they say, yeah, by the way, I had a flat last night. You didn't call for a PO. No, I changed it myself, or I just, you know what, I didn't want to bother anybody. I went and I had it repaired, and you know what, I'll bring in the bill when I get there. That sort of behavior, rampant. It was, they were my favorites by far, and there's such a close relationship between farming and trucking. Most big trucking companies were started by farmers.
Yeah.
Way back.
I believe that. Yeah, Bruce just commented that FFA has their annual convention in Indy each fall, and yep, that's where we were at. We were in Indianapolis, and we have at the FFA convention, we have a crowd of students around our booth the entire time because they're watching their friends do the driver simulator. They're doing the driver simulator. Our booth is very popular. It's super fun, and the VR headsets. You're watching them, change the oil in the truck, and it's really fun to just talk to these students and learn about their hopes and dreams.
So Next Gen, you're a licensed charity in the United States, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So we're an association, and we also have a foundation. So, so we are just working. We're a nonprofit. So everything we do is supported by people and by individuals, by companies, by donations. And we are literally all about the mission. So whatever we do with the funding is all about the mission. It's about career branding. It's about helping schools start programs, and it's helping young people find a career path and educating them, educating their parents, educating teachers and counselors and administrators about the industry and how they can start a trucking program at their school to help create that workforce.
That's so wonderful. Now, do you own a simulator yet? Have you bought one, or was it on loan from somebody?
No, so we don't own one. We have partners, right? So one of our partners that is local to Indianapolis, Marvin Johnson, they're actually an insurance broker for trucking, and they have a driver simulator because they're promoting safety for their customers. And they're a great partner, Marvin Johnson and Associates, and they bring they help sponsor the event. They bring the driver simulator up. They sit there all day, every day, and talk to the students through the different things. Like, you can have a steer tire blowout. You can be going up the mountains when it's snowing. You can have it where a dog runs out in front of your truck. So they're in it with us, promoting trucking.
That is wonderful.
And so, Lindsey, I'm curious. I know that you guys are kind of still in your infancy, second year with doing everything. During the time that you guys got started, how many people do you think that you may have come in contact with that you actually have helped guide into the industry from the short time that you guys have been up and running?
Yeah, so I would say that we've reached several 100,000 students, parents, teachers to go into the industry. I mean, that's kind of a harder thing to
quantify.
Yet we do form relationships. We do get people's contact information. We do connect them with employers. And so we are trying to quantify that. I mean, all the students and programs and multiplying that. So, I mean, we're making a huge impact for sure.
And sometimes it's all about, you planting the seed in a young mind, and sometimes it takes the seed a little bit of time for it to burst open and for that sprout to shoot up. Sometimes it's gotta sit there for a minute before they actually before it actually takes hold.
That's right. Now it is mandated for middle schools to do career exploration. So they start 7th, 8th grade career exploration, and it's been it's frustrating, I have to tell you, because one of my members sent me this, like, hey, they're doing this thing all summer where career paths are coming. Like, so I'm a person, I'm going to come and present my career. They're going to video it. And all through the year, they're going to promote my career path to the students in these career exploration classes. And I looked at these, I don't know, 30 careers, 0 supporting the supply chain, but they had beekeeping. And I'm like, beekeeping? Okay. Google, how many beekeepers are there employed in the United States? And it's like 15,000 beekeepers, where supporting the supply chain is what? I mean, millions, 8 million.
Yeah.
It's huge. And so we have to be out there educating schools, because they don't know. They think, oh, beekeeping, we should promote beekeeping as a career. No, you should be promoting driving, diesel mechanics, warehouse, sales, everything that supports the supply chain. And they're not right now. Another example I give is, so they have 16 career clusters. One of them is transportation, distribution, and logistics. These 16 career clusters are what each program falls under within the school system in the United States. They have a poster for TDL, transportation, distribution, and logistics. What's on this poster? A rocket ship, a motorcycle, some cars, some electric stations. There is nothing in trucking. And I'm like, how many people are employed in space exploration? How many people are employed in motorcycles? It doesn't even touch how many people are involved in trucking.
Oh.
So we have to educate the educators, and we have to make our industry forward and center. Nobody's doing it. We've got to start doing it. And that's why we created Next Gen, because we want to create these opportunities and these educational resources for young people, for schools, so that trucking is forefront and not after beekeeping and, rocket ships.
No. First of all, okay, I don't know a lot about beekeeping. I don't know anything about beekeeping, to be honest. But I would imagine if you're going to be working on rocket ships, you're probably going to have to be a rocket scientist or have some sort of academia behind you.
Yes, right.
I don't think NASA hires a lot of high school graduates.
No, they don't. They don't. And it's great, but it's not mainstream what everybody should be looking at. That's not what we should see. We need to see what's real, what's out there.
Yeah. And that I think the greatest thing is that these young people can start earning without creating student debt. That is because everybody in North America is saddled with debt. Okay. I think it's on the top of most people's minds is, geez, the debt load we are carrying in this household. Rico and I were just chatting about it in the green room, and that's causing so much strain financially for people because they just don't have the money to support their lifestyle in a lot of cases, and they're having to buy less right now as compared to last year and the previous 2 or 3 years. Because gas has everything is expensive, food inflation, all sorts of things. So it's kind of nice to be able to come out with a career that's a great alternative.
Yeah. We send out a newsletter every month, and usually I write an article, and so does Dave. And Dave's article this past month was amazing. He talked about how many young people are going to college, how many of them are getting student loan debt, what that student loan debt is, and how many are actually even finishing with a degree.
Right.
And the numbers are staggering.
Yeah.
And it is an epidemic. We have got to start saying it's okay not to go to college.
Yeah. I think, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I was just saying, get a skill, but let's hear you, Rico.
That's what we were saying earlier when we were saying that college isn't for everyone. I think that a lot of people I have one daughter that's left in college right now. She claims that she wants to be an attorney, and I hope she sticks it all the way through. She's in her junior year right now, so she still got law school to go to potentially.
We'll be trucking for a while, Rico.
but mean, you got a lot of people that I have her sisters went to college and after a year or two, I can't do it anymore. I can't take it. And and didn't, like you said, didn't complete, didn't finish, but at the same time, so you get people that get burnt out on being in school and stuff like that, and then they go and accumulate a nice little student loan debt and don't have anything, nothing to pay it off with. Don't have a skill set to pay it off with.
Yeah.
Whereas by being exposed to this, you definitely have a valuable alternative, and also not only for working for someone, but if you're an entrepreneur and you have any type of entrepreneurial mindset, then you have a set of different skills that you could go into a whole bunch of different directions with. Whether if you're going to be a diesel mechanic, open up your own diesel mechanic shop.
Yep.
Being a technician, working for one of the dealerships or something of that nature, and even the logistics professionals, whether who could be starting the next C.H. Robinson brokerage or whatever else.
Right.
So there's definitely a lot of viable alternatives that you guys are helping expose people to, and I think that's the biggest thing, is that a lot of times people don't even realize how broad the transportation industry is.
Yeah.
Don't even have a clue as to all of the different nuts and bolts and tentacles that this industry provides, and avenues that it provides for people to be able to work out in. And I think that's a great thing by it, and really some higher paying career paths in the industry as well. Just not just talking about driving trucks or diesel mechanic, but I mean, you'd be surprised how much some of these logistics managers and things of that nature, how much they can pull in, and definitely if you open up your own brokerage, man, you definitely could be raking in a few dollars.
Or working for, working for a brokerage, whether you're in administration or you're in sales or you're in operations, especially the operations people, the good operations people and the good salespeople, they are very, very well paid. I mean, really well paid.
And Chuck would know.
Well, yeah, I have to, I sign their paychecks every week. And I don't anymore, but I signed hundreds or thousands of paychecks. And I can tell you that a lot of those salespeople and a lot of those operations people made every bit as much, if not more, than some of the best attorneys in the United States. I can honestly tell you that's how much they make. And they were great at their jobs. They still are. That's why they make so much. So not everybody that's going to get a job in operations or in sales is going to make hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. But however, the opportunity is out there. If you want to apply yourself and learn how to do it really well, you can make that sort of money. It's available. You just have to apply yourself. So maybe instead of learning about history and rocket science and all sorts of other things, you do this instead. And a good truck driver that does, that keeps his or her record clean, they're making, for companies like Walmart, they're making over $100,000 a year. And they have, good equipment in their homes. They're not living on the road.
Yeah, and that's another thing is Gen Z, they want to hear about different career paths, and they need to be educated. So you go into a room, safety professionals, HR, most of them started off as being a professional driver, service managers in a shop. I worked for Ryder. All of those service managers started out as a technician, right?
Yes.
There are so many career paths in trucking, but we have to educate the next generation about the opportunities. And that's what they want. They want to see companies that will invest in them as a person and help them to reach the next level and the next level, because they want to better their lives and their family. And education is great, but we don't have to put people through formal education now. There's a lot of training programs at companies where they can get these great skills and have a great career that makes good money with companies all around the country, all around North America, all around the world. I'm telling you, we get schools in France, Australia, all over the place
Really?
saying, we want to start this program. And we in Mexico, we just are like, wow, yeah, yes. They're all having driver shortages. So it's kind of wild.
Well, you know what? Everybody needs trucks, and I'm a firm believer that I don't think we are going to see autonomous trucks take over in any of our lifetimes. Maybe in shipping yards and stuff like that makes perfect sense, but I don't think. I really cannot imagine a world where you drive your truck to the entrance ramp of the interstate and you hop out of your truck and you put the truck in gear and you jump out and you wave goodbye to your truck. And then another person, 300 miles down the road, hops in your truck and drives it off the interstate. That's like, I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. It's not what it's like. I think we've developed all of this incredible technology where trucks could drive themselves, but they never will because there's just way too much liability.
There's too much.
Yeah, I think was
behind the wheel.
was it you that sent me the video of the autonomous truck when they turned the button on and it drove into the wall?
Yes. Yes, that was me, because I'm going to tell you, I have a couple of pet peeves that I will share with you. I do not believe in autonomous trucks. I think it's nonsense. And I don't believe in battery operated trucks because I think that's nonsense too. Because I just don't see how this is going to work in the near future. Eventually it will. But until that time, I think we need diesel. I think there's a great future for diesel until they figure out how to produce energy a whole lot easier to recharge these batteries and charge those batteries quickly. When they get to the point where you drive into Love's and a person comes out with a tow motor, a lift truck, and pulls out your batteries, and he's got two fresh ones, and he puts you in less time or same time as it takes to fill up, which is about 15 minutes. When that happens, we have a thing. Until that happens, this ain't happening. And we've got to have a better way of charging these trucks. When that happens, yeah, we could do this. But that's going to be a while. And I think the young people.
That might be an idea, Chuck. You might should have kept that to yourself. We might have
Okay, well, you know what? That's the easy part,
right
Rico.
there, Chuck. We might have just made Elon and them guys a bunch of money just now.
Well, okay, but the hard part still, Rico, is charging those batteries because.
No, I'm saying the swap them out part.
Whoever can figure out how to charge all these electric vehicles. I just heard tonight that Ford was putting a stop on a battery plant they were running in Michigan somewhere because it just they were just going too fast. I don't know the whole story. I just heard part of it, but I do think that for commuter cars, I think it works great. My son has a battery operated car. He commutes to work about 10 miles a day. That works fine for him. But I could not see him taking his family on a road trip in this thing. It's just not going to. And he admits that it won't work. But so far, he hasn't had to spend 5 cents on gas in a year and a half, which is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But
not to mention how heavy the trucks are and how much it weighs. And so
yeah, we had a guest on one night, and I thought Rico was going to fall off his chair because he was so excited about the opportunities with a battery operated truck. I could see the dollar signs going in his eyes because he could lease a truck with fuel and everything for $7,000 a month. So Rico's brain was working overtime until the guy said, well, you can only scale about 30,000 pounds. And then, a bubble was burst.
Yeah.
That's a big bubble to burst.
Yeah. And then there's the cost of it. So, you know what? Until the cost comes down, we're going to be running diesel trucks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to change. But you know, you've made great inroads. I wish to God you guys would have more of a presence up in Canada.
Well, I did meet with all the Canadian trucking associations recently, and I need to spend a day trying to figure out how to navigate the school systems in Canada. I will be at the Association of Career Technical Education, the Vision Conference next week, and the Workforce Coalition. I am going to talk to my peers about what they're doing in Canada and trying to start to figure out the education landscape there. It took me a while. I mean, because I come from a trucking background, right?
Yes.
And now I'm in education, and it took me a while to navigate it's different language. It's completely different. And it's different in every state and every district. So you have to really learn every
Yeah.
state. What do they do in every state? Because it's a
Yeah.
statewide decisions. Well, I've got to learn in Canada, like the education system.
Well,
I
and
know
there's
a
10,
little.
you know what? Yeah, and we have, just like you have, 50 states, we have 10 provinces and 2
Right.
territories, each of them different with different curriculums and different rules and everything else. Now, on your advisory board, do you have anybody from the education world that's on there currently?
That's a great question. So like for my board of directors,
Yes.
yes, I do. I have somebody from the national, or some from the community college. I have,
Okay.
yeah. So both boards have a community college representative. I work really closely with the National Association of Publicly Funded Truck Driving Schools and the Commercial Vehicle Training Association, the CVTA. And I work really closely with some educational organizations.
Good.
But I don't know in Canada. I've got to figure Canada out.
Yeah, it's different, but you know, we are in Canada because we only have two. We have 2 railways in Canada. That's it, like 2 major railways, CN and CP. And because of that, there are most of the time this country is very, very dependent upon trucks because in the wintertime, trains get derailed constantly.
Oh,
You know, there's anything that happens, you get a derailment, you have switches freeze, that could cause a derailment or just the rail stops. And trains cannot be diverted. It's just that you cannot divert a train. Where if you have a load going from Toronto to Vancouver, and you know damn well you've got a storm and you've got a rush load, if you've got a properly qualified driver and truck, you can send that driver to run through the United States in bond. That can be arranged. And I think it was 2 years ago, we had in British Columbia, we had a road washout on our major highway. We have one major highway connecting east and west. I know it's a little, which we're a bigger country than you are, but our population is small. And when that happened, the US government gave us the green light that drivers could go that way through the States as long as they passed first of all, the drivers had to be qualified to go into the United States. You couldn't send somebody that had a criminal record. You couldn't send somebody that wasn't drug tested. You still had to follow all the rules.
Yeah.
But if you could check all the boxes, you were welcome to bring that load in an in-transit bond through the U.S. So a train couldn't do that. So what happened was trains were stuck in the middle of nowhere, and you had companies whose inventory was stuck on a rail line. So that's the problem. That's why we need trucks, and that's why there's such a great opportunity for trucking in Canada.
Yeah, I mean, it's another area, it's another country that there's high needs and jobs pay well, and so we've got to educate the next generation and try to steer them towards careers in trucking. And I was meeting with somebody today. It's like other industries are doing it. Construction's doing it. We've got to do it. Welding, we have to do it. We have got to be out there. We've got to be in our communities, promoting our industry, working with schools,
Yeah.
talking, just saying, hey, I would like to come and bring a truck and just let your students come and see it, right? Like we just have to educate young people.
That's what, you know, people just don't know about it, you know?
That's right.
And,
They don't.
you know, and they get you know, I remember, and I think about it quite often, when I got into trucking, I remember family, not my immediate family, they were great, but my, you know, uncles and aunts and cousins and friends of my parents taking me aside going, what, are you crazy? You're giving up an opportunity to take over the family flower shop to go into trucking. Are you out of your mind? And you know what? I don't think there's any florist in the world that did as well in flowers as I did in trucking. You know, I'm not bragging, but it's a fact. Or had as much fun in, you know, in a business as we did in trucking. So it was, you know, I knew my own mother said to me within the last 6 months, who's 96 years old, apologized to me and said, you know, she always calls me Charlie. She goes, you know, Charlie, I got to apologize. She said, we were real hard on you as a little guy because all you wanted to do is go into trucking from the time you were 3 years old. And and we wouldn't listen. And we wanted you to become a doctor or a lawyer or undertaker or anything else, an accountant. But you insisted and you knew better than we did. And I'm sorry for everything we put you through. Because some kids do know what they want, but lots of kids don't know that this is available.
Yeah, I'd love to share. We just created a document. Literally, we just finished it today, but it's from a parent, his perspective, and his kid got into the SDAP, the Safe Driver Apprenticeship Pilot Program. He's 18. He's driving across the country. And his perspective on his 18-year-old coming to him saying, this is what I really want to do. And it's a PDF. I'd love to share it with you.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I can email that to you. And we also came out with another marketing document of why a student should consider a career in trucking, that would appeal to them. So we are trying to create educational resources to help schools and to promote trucking and just to be a resource and a help to teachers, to schools, to parents, to students, to really promote trucking and all the benefits that we have in trucking.
Yeah.
So Lindsey, I'm looking at our time, and I appreciate you for being so gracious with your time and coming on and joining us. But while we got you here, and since we're recording this, and it'll be out on YouTube until infinity and beyond, perhaps, how can people get involved? How can people help further the mission? And where? So I put the right underneath you. I put your website there. For people to, if they want to go and check out the website and anything like that. But any closing thoughts or remarks that you would like to leave us with, and how can people get in contact or maybe even help be an advocate and help get you guys into some other school systems and things of that nature?
Yeah, so we send out a monthly newsletter, and you can sign up on our website for a newsletter. You can follow us on socials at Next Gen Truckers. I'm on LinkedIn. We're on all socials. We'd love to connect with you there. Every school has programs, and we can connect you to programs that are in your community if your community has one. A lot of schools have career fairs, and we want you to work within your community to promote the industry. And we can't do it. We're people, but you can do it in your own backyard. And so we want you to help introduce a young person to a career in trucking, help better their lives. Just share with them what you do, who you are. You can connect with us on our website, nextgentrucking.org. We'd love to be able to connect you and help you get connected in your community. If you want to join our organization, we have an association. We're membership funded. That's how we support our mission. But we also have a foundation. If you're looking for some tax credits and you want to donate to our organization, we'd love for you to donate at the end of the year. And we're going to put that money to really good use to helping start trucking programs and promote the mission. It's all about the mission, and that's reaching young people and really helping guide them and educating them about careers in trucking.
All right.
I think it's just so incredible
Fantastic.
what you're doing and what you've done.
Thanks. I love it. I wake up every morning and it's so fun what I get to do every day.
I can see it. You know what? I've met you a number of times and I can just see it in your face. You're glowing. You know, I can tell you're having a good time and it shows.
Yeah, I love it. And it's true. I mean, and when you see a student's life get changed, I mean, like we see stories every day of somebody's life getting changed and you can't believe it. I mean, we're so far removed sometimes from that. But if there's a kid that is just on the wrong path, but they find something they're good at and they get self-esteem from being good at something and they can finally see a future for themselves, it literally changes kids' lives. It's not about trucking. It's not about us. It's about helping guide these young people to a new future, a career path where they can be successful in life and be proud of what they do and support their family.
You know, I think that's so important. I think that young people, not just young people, but especially young people, need to feel good about themselves and what they're doing.
They do.
It just it get that feeling of accomplishment about, you know, feeling good about yourself and what you're doing. Just it paves the way, and all of a sudden you'll make the right decisions. You know, people that are feeling good about themselves don't have problems with substance abuse and
right.
just doing stupid things because they've got a path to follow.
Right. That's right.
You know, and trucking's great. You know, if a young person wants to get into trucking, well, you know, one of the things, you know, one of the rules is you got to be drug tested. So that keeps them off of that.
That's right.
I don't know if there's an awful lot of, that's for another show, but there's an awful lot of controversy on that right now.
Yeah, true.
We will see whether evil or good wins.
That's true.
Well, Lindsey, we appreciate you for taking time out again.
Thank you
for coming on the show, being so gracious with your time. We appreciate it. Thank you guys for fighting the good fight that you guys are doing over there by helping to try to guide young people into our industry. We definitely are appreciative of your efforts, and thank you for doing so. Chuck Snow, let the people know how they can find you.
If I can help anybody, any of our listeners need help with anything, please reach out to me. Put your phone number on email. Send me a quick email, chucksnow280@outlook.com, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I want to wish everyone a happy, healthy, and safe Thanksgiving. And all is well, we'll see you next week. Rico, I'll let you back there in a hold for another week.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want you guys to stay safe out there. It is Thanksgiving holiday weekend coming upon us. The roads, as you all know, the roads are treacherous right now. There's a lot of people out there. Weather is not being very kind to us across here in the southeast, and even going all the way up to the eastern seaboard there. Weather is a real major thing today, and for I think for the next couple of days. But just stay safe out there, you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy. Keep it in between the mustard and the mayonnaise. And God willing, we'll talk at you same time, same place next week. God bless you and good night. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Catch you on the flip-flop. God bless.